I'm Andy Mack. Let's turn our attention out west as we're learning more news about the death of Brandon Blackstock, the ex-husband to Kelly Clarkson.
What secrets were hidden behind the doors no one was allowed to open? Which mysterious collections revealed a side of Brandon Blackstock's life the world never imagined? His garage wasn't just a storage space. It was a vault of untold stories, forgotten passions, and shocking surprises. Stay with us as we uncover what was inside and reveal the truths that will leave you speechless. Brandon Blackstock, known to many as a music manager and husband of pop superstar Kelly Clarkson, had a side of his life few ever glimpsed. While the public focused on celebrity headlines and media speculation, Blackstock carved out a private sanctuary far removed from the spotlight. His estate in Butte, Montana, stood as a silent testament to his desire for a life lived authentically. Nestled among rolling hills and dense forests, the property offered a sense of solitude that few in his circle had ever experienced. At first glance, it looked like a typical ranch property, but a closer look revealed that every corner had been shaped by his careful attention and personal taste. The garage, often overlooked by casual visitors, was a core part of this hidden world. Unlike conventional garages used simply to store vehicles or equipment, Blackstock's was a meticulously curated space. Vehicles of all kinds were arranged with precision, from vintage motorcycles to classic cars that spoke to his fascination with mechanical history. Each vehicle was more than just a collectible. It was a connection to a memory, a passion project, or a story he quietly cherished. Among the vehicles were tools lined in perfect order, custom workstations, and shelves stacked with items that hinted at hobbies spanning far beyond music and celebrity life. Inside this garage, one could glimpse a man who valued craftsmanship and creativity. Hand-painted signs hung from the walls, and framed photographs captured moments of serenity and adventure. Some images showed him exploring the Montana wilderness, while others reflected deep connections with family and friends. Bookshelves housed an eclectic mix of volumes, ranging from business strategy and music theory to ranching techniques and philosophical works. It was a place where learning, memory, and passion intersected. Every item seemed deliberate, chosen not for public admiration but for personal meaning. Beyond the tangible items, the garage symbolized something deeper about Blackstock's life. It represented a retreat from public judgment, a place where he could reconnect with his own identity. This private world was a sharp contrast to the chaos of the entertainment industry, where every action and choice was scrutinized. The garage offered a rare form of freedom, a place where mistakes could be made in peace and creative impulses could flourish without interruption. Brandon's choice to retreat into such privacy is a lesson in intentional living. It shows that even in a life surrounded by fame and attention, one can create pockets of calm and authenticity. Friends and family who visited spoke of his ability to transform ordinary spaces into personal sanctuaries, spaces that reflected not only his hobbies, but also his inner life. Every corner of the garage had a story, whether it was a custom-built motorcycle that he had painstakingly restored, or a collection of rare artifacts from his travels. These objects became silent storytellers of a man who preferred action and craft over public accolades. Even more compelling was how the garage connected to his larger vision for life. Blackstock viewed his Montana property not just as a retreat, but as a place to grow, learn, and pursue passions that had little to do with fame. He cultivated a sense of independence, a life where choices were guided by personal fulfillment rather than social expectation. His garage, with its combination of utility, creativity, and reflection, became the heart of this private existence. In understanding this hidden space, we begin to see the man himself as a figure defined by depth, curiosity, and deliberate living. It is a reminder that some of the most revealing aspects of a person's life are tucked away in places that few would think to explore. Brandon Blackstock's garage was not just a storage area, it was a window into the values, memories, and passions that shaped his life beyond the public eye. What secrets did this sanctuary hold, waiting to reshape what we thought we knew about him? Stay with us to uncover the truth. A glimpse into the garage. The moment the garage doors slowly rose, it became clear that this was no ordinary space. Unlike a typical garage with cluttered shelves and parked vehicles, this one projected a sense of intention and character. The layout itself was striking. Every section seemed carefully thought out, designed for both practicality and inspiration. Walkways were clear, allowing movement between zones without obstruction. The lighting highlighted areas of interest, and the air carried the faint scent of polished metal, wood, and oils, a combination that hinted at long hours spent in focused, hands-on work. On the left side, a row of all-terrain vehicles and off-road trucks were stationed with precision. Unlike the gleaming, untouched showpieces often displayed in celebrity collections, these vehicles bore subtle marks of adventure. Mud stains, scuffed tires, and slightly worn leather seats told the story of journeys across uneven terrain and trails less traveled. A couple of sleek motorcycles rested nearby, each with custom paintwork that hinted at individuality and personal expression. Observing them, one could sense that these vehicles were more than possessions. They were companions for exploration and outlets for skill and creativity. The right side of the garage contained multiple workstations, each revealing a distinct function. One corner featured a mechanical station with precision instruments, carefully maintained jigs, and organized parts bins. Another corner held a crafting area, with woodworking tools, carving materials, and partially assembled models. These zones indicated that the garage served as a multi-purpose space, a place to refine skills, pursue hobbies, and experiment with ideas in a controlled yet flexible environment. Every tool had its place, suggesting a meticulous mind that found comfort in organization and structure. High shelves displayed an unexpected array of objects. Antique binoculars, hand-forged metal pieces, and small sculptures hinted at interests beyond mechanical pursuits. Even a section of climbing and outdoor gear suggested a life that valued physical activity and adventure. There was a subtle narrative embedded in the arrangement. Each shelf, each surface, told a story of preparation, exploration, and curiosity, without the need for words. It was a spatial biography, one expressed through objects rather than text. Scattered across the workspace were notebooks, technical drawings, and schematics. These documents were filled with careful diagrams, project ideas, and maintenance plans. They demonstrated a dedication to precision and problem-solving, highlighting how deeply thought out each project had been before execution. None of it seemed showy. There were no flashy displays meant to impress visitors. Instead, the materials conveyed a quiet pride in craft, a satisfaction derived from personal accomplishment rather than external recognition. Even minor decorative details offered insight into personality. Small framed images of natural landscapes suggested an appreciation for beauty and tranquility. Minimalist plaques commemorated small victories in personal projects or milestones in hobbies. These touches contrasted with the functional nature of the rest of the garage, demonstrating a blend of pragmatism and aesthetic sensibility. It was a space that balanced logic and emotion, efficiency and reflection, activity and contemplation. The garage's atmosphere reflected intentionality at every level. From floor layout to tool placement, everything was designed to facilitate productivity while honoring personal interests. This space served as a private arena where creativity met technique, where focus and imagination coexisted. Observers could sense the thought, care, and personal rhythm that went into curating this environment. It was a place where experimentation was encouraged, challenges were approached methodically, and successes were quietly celebrated. Ultimately, the garage revealed a side of life that is rarely seen in public. It was a testament to individuality, curiosity, and the deliberate crafting of a personal world. The objects, the layout, and the atmosphere all combined to tell a story of a life lived with intention, attention, and care. For anyone entering, the space offered a rare glimpse into the daily practices, passions, and priorities of someone who valued both utility and beauty in the things they surrounded themselves with. What unexpected passions and hidden truths could still be uncovered as we explore this carefully curated space? Come along as we uncover the hidden story. The man behind the music. Life in the music world often paints people in bold, sometimes exaggerated strokes, focusing on fame, success, or scandals. But behind the bright lights and studio sessions, a different story unfolds, one shaped by ambition, quiet reflection, and personal trials that rarely make headlines. In this story, the man at the center was defined less by charts and concerts and more by the choices he made when no one was watching. Long before the public glimpsed his life in tabloid pages, he was immersed in the world of music in ways that demanded patience and resilience. Touring schedules, long studio nights, and the constant pressure to stay relevant shaped not only his career but also his character. He witnessed firsthand the highs of witnessing a song he managed climb the charts and the lows of creative setbacks that seemed impossible to overcome. These experiences, while invisible to most observers, contributed to a depth of understanding about the industry and human connections that few could rival. Despite the professional rigor, there was always a private side, a layer reserved for moments of reflection or shared only with those closest. Away from cameras and crowds, he found solace in mentoring young talent, offering advice drawn from real-world experience, and helping others navigate a world he knew was both exhilarating and unforgiving. His mentorship was not performative. It came from a genuine desire to help others grow while staying grounded himself. Beyond the industry, he explored interests that had little to do with music but reflected a broader curiosity about life. Ranching and outdoor living became central passions, offering a counterbalance to the intensity of entertainment. Caring for animals, working the land, and exploring wilderness areas allowed him to reconnect with a different rhythm of life, one measured not by releases and reviews, but by seasons and the satisfaction of hands-on work. Each day spent outdoors became a meditation, a chance to reflect on personal priorities and values. Friendships and family relationships shaped much of his identity as well. Close friends often remarked that his attention to detail extended beyond work. He remembered birthdays, small victories, and moments of vulnerability in ways that spoke to deep empathy. His relationships were built on trust, shared experience, and a desire to support others, contrasting sharply with the often superficial nature of celebrity connections. In private gatherings, his warmth and humor came to the forefront, revealing a multifaceted personality hidden behind the public persona. Travel also played a formative role, influencing both creativity and perspective. He sought destinations off the beaten path, from mountain ranges to quiet lakes, embracing experiences that expanded his worldview. Every journey became an opportunity to learn, observe, and record. Sketchbooks, journals, and even small souvenirs from these trips found their way into the garage, quietly chronicling a life rich in curiosity and exploration. Even the way he approached problem-solving offered insight into his character. Projects, whether musical, mechanical, or personal, were approached methodically yet creatively. He thrived in environments that allowed experimentation and iteration, learning from mistakes without fear of judgment. This mindset translated into both professional success and personal fulfillment, revealing a person who valued growth, authenticity, and deliberate living above superficial accolades. Through all these facets, career, mentorship, personal hobbies, relationships, and travels, a clearer picture emerged of a man whose life was more nuanced than most headlines suggested. He balanced ambition with reflection, visibility with privacy, and intensity with moments of quiet contemplation. Understanding this hidden depth allows us to see that there is more to public figures than fame. Their true stories often unfold in private, layered spaces where the real work of identity and life takes place. What private experiences and defining moments shaped his final chapters? Stay tuned as we reveal everything. The last private moments. The final days of a person's life often reveal a raw, unfiltered portrait of who they truly are. Away from the headlines, accolades, and expectations, there is a quiet honesty in facing one's mortality. For him, this period was not defined by fear or regret, but by reflection, connection, and the deliberate savoring of life's small, meaningful moments. The Montana landscape, familiar and comforting, became both witness and companion during these last chapters. Rolling hills, the distant calls of birds, and the gentle rustling of trees created a backdrop for introspection that no cityscape could replicate. During this time, family and close friends became central figures, offering support, comfort, and the opportunity to celebrate shared histories. Simple routines took on profound significance. Morning walks on dewy grass, conversations over steaming mugs of coffee, and quiet evenings by the fireplace became acts of grounding. Each day was measured not by calendars or obligations, but by the depth of connection, the quality of presence, and the joy in small, seemingly ordinary interactions. Even while dealing with illness, there was a focus on maintaining dignity and autonomy. Decisions about treatment, care, and comfort were made thoughtfully and deliberately, reflecting a deep respect for the self and for those around him. Friends who visited recall moments of humor, insight, and candid conversation that revealed wisdom often hidden in the chaos of a public life. There were no cameras, no audience, only honest exchange and genuine presence. Reflection has become a cornerstone of these days. Journals, sketches, and written notes surfaced, offering glimpses into thoughts that had been carefully cultivated over a lifetime. He considered achievements and failures alike, moments of pride and times of struggle, seeking to understand not just what he had done, but why and how it shaped the person he became. This practice of self-reflection was not merely philosophical. It was a tool for peace, a way to navigate the emotional complexity of facing the unknown with courage. Relationships also took center stage. Old friends, distant family members, and colleagues were invited to reconnect. Conversations ranged from light-hearted reminiscences to deeply personal admissions, each encounter reinforcing the bonds that defined his life. Those who witnessed these interactions often described a profound sense of authenticity, as if the curtain of performative existence had been lifted entirely. There was laughter, storytelling, and even quiet tears, all underscoring the richness of connections that had quietly shaped his years. Creative outlets continued to play a vital role. Even in limited energy, he would engage with projects that brought joy, whether sketching, tinkering with small mechanical endeavors, or revisiting music that held emotional resonance. These activities were not for show or documentation. They were a form of sustenance, a way to process, to remember, and to affirm a life filled with curiosity and engagement. Each completed sketch, each note played, each carefully considered movement contributed to a sense of continuity and presence, reinforcing identity even as the days shortened. The estate itself reflected his priorities and values. Spaces once used for labor or leisure were now imbued with deeper meaning. Gardens, workshops, and personal collections became repositories of memory and care, serving as quiet reminders of what he cherished most. Observers often remarked on the peaceful atmosphere, a stark contrast to the hustle and unpredictability of earlier years in public life. Here, surrounded by familiarity, he could face the end of life on his own terms. These final days, though intimate and private, offer profound insight into the character of a man who navigated fame, career pressures, and personal challenges with thoughtfulness and intentionality. What hidden details and personal items surfaced during this period, offering a window into his private world? Let us tell you. Unveiling the garage. While the garage's surface already hinted at meticulous care and intentionality, exploring it further revealed layers that spoke to a life of personal reflection and quiet curiosity. Beyond the practical zones for vehicles and projects, small boxes, drawers, and tucked-away cabinets offered glimpses of memories carefully preserved over the years. Each container seemed deliberately chosen to protect not just objects but fragments of experience, each a marker of events, passions, or achievements that had never been broadcast to the public. One of the first things to draw attention were collections of handwritten letters and journals, stacked neatly in a corner. They contained reflections on travels, musings about daily life, and notes to friends or family that had never been sent. Pages were filled with careful penmanship, diagrams, or lists of ideas waiting to be realized. Some entries reflected the excitement of discovering a new trail hike, a challenge overcome, or a problem solved. Others were quieter, almost meditative, revealing an introspective mind that valued observation and contemplation. These writings gave life to a world of thought that had existed largely outside the public eye. A set of display cases held personal artifacts with emotional resonance, Souvenirs from faraway places, small tokens from meaningful events, and even mementos from music tours were organized with care, each item telling a private story. A ticket stub from a concert in a remote city, a pressed flower from a memorable hike, and a small hand-carved figurine from a local artisan each spoke to moments of significance that shaped character and perspective. Unlike typical collections designed to impress others, these were curated for personal meaning, reflecting experiences that resonated deeply with memory and sentiment. Another area revealed a meticulous archive of creative pursuits, sketchbooks filled with illustrations, notes for mechanical designs, and half-finished models demonstrated a constant engagement with problem-solving and artistic exploration. The garage functioned as a studio where imagination could meet practice. Items were left intentionally unfinished, serving as reminders that the act of creation itself held value, independent of completion or recognition. This emphasis on process over product underscored a personal philosophy that growth and experimentation were more important than applause or attention. Music remained a subtle yet consistent theme, appearing in unexpected ways. Vintage instruments stored carefully in padded cases, annotated sheet music, and old recordings on fragile reels spoke to a life where sound provided emotional grounding. Listening or playing here was an immersive, private experience, a bridge between memory, mood, and personal expression. The items were not displayed for prestige, but preserved as companions, reflecting the role of music as a constant emotional anchor and a source of introspection. Small objects scattered throughout offered hints of humor and whimsy, reminding visitors that joy had its place in even the most structured environments. Quirky trinkets, miniature figurines, and oddly shaped tools suggested a personality that valued curiosity, delight, and playful engagement with the world. These details, easily overlooked, painted a picture of someone who approached life with both seriousness and lightness, balancing precision with imagination. Even practical items like gardening tools, hiking gear, or old maps carried emotional undertones. They represented journeys undertaken, lessons learned, and connections forged with the natural world. Each item, while useful, was also a tangible reflection of values, self-reliance, exploration, and a commitment to experiences over appearances. The garage, in this way, became a multidimensional archive, part memory vault, part creative lab, part emotional sanctuary. In exploring these hidden treasures, it became evident that the space was not just a reflection of hobbies or possessions, but of character. It revealed priorities, passions, and personality traits that had remained private, offering a rare, unfiltered perspective on a life shaped by curiosity, reflection, and personal meaning. Every item had a story, and together they formed a mosaic that spoke volumes about a world few had access to, where identity, memory, and creativity intersected. What unseen treasures and personal keepsakes could reveal the true story behind this remarkable life? Stay with us to know what really happened. Secrets within the walls. The moment attention shifted from tangible collections to the subtle patterns woven throughout the garage, it became clear that the space was a carefully curated map of a life's journey. Beyond the visible artifacts and carefully arranged tools, there were hidden compartments, obscure boxes, and overlooked corners that held stories waiting to be interpreted. Each object, carefully stored or tucked away, suggested that the garage was not simply a workspace or storage area, it was a living archive, a personal museum where every item had significance beyond appearance. One area revealed a collection of handwritten notes, sketches, and ideas that hinted at long-term projects and aspirations never pursued publicly. Some notes outlined mechanical experiments, while others contained reflections on life decisions and personal philosophies. A particularly intriguing set of journals documented observations about nature and the outdoors, referencing hikes, wildlife encounters, and landscapes visited over the years. The entries suggested a mind constantly seeking insight, recording not for fame, but for personal understanding. This glimpse into thought processes revealed not only intelligence, but a deliberate desire to capture moments of growth and exploration. Among the stored objects were collections that spoke to connections with others. Gifts exchanged with family members, mementos from friends, and correspondence carefully folded and preserved revealed relationships that had shaped life away from the public eye. Each artifact acted as a window into meaningful interactions, demonstrating a network of bonds maintained through thoughtfulness and effort. The garage was as much a reflection of relationships as it was of hobbies or personal interests, revealing someone who valued loyalty, shared experiences, and memory over material accumulation. Another corner held elements that hinted at a fascination with learning and history. Rare books on science, philosophy, and engineering rested beside ancient maps, compasses, and artifacts collected during travels. These items indicated a mind drawn to discovery and reflection, a curiosity that extended far beyond mechanical pursuits. There were items that seemed almost ceremonial, carefully labeled and stored, suggesting rituals of learning or reflection that provided structure and meaning. Each shelf told a story of intellectual engagement and a desire to understand both the tangible and abstract worlds. Music appeared again, but in more subtle forms than previously noted. Handwritten notes on song structures, recordings of improvised sessions, and playlists labeled with personal commentary indicated that music served as a form of self-expression and documentation. This was not casual listening. It was a tool for reflection and emotional processing, woven into the fabric of daily life. Observing these elements revealed a complex personality, one that turned artistic passion into a private language of emotion and thought. Even seemingly mundane objects carried hidden significance. Everyday tools, gardening implements, and maintenance supplies were placed with care, their positions reflecting intention rather than randomness. Maps marked with routes taken, notebooks with observations of the local terrain, and personal reminders suggested a life deeply attuned to both environment and routine. It became clear that every item was part of a larger narrative, a mosaic where mundane and meaningful intersected to create a comprehensive story of identity, priorities, and curiosity. The overall effect of exploring these hidden elements was a profound realization. The garage was far more than a collection of belongings. It was a chronicle of choices, relationships, passions, and values, a space where private life, intellectual pursuit, and emotional resonance converged. Visitors could see a life deliberately documented, intentionally preserved, and intricately layered, providing insight into decisions and characteristics invisible to outsiders. What secrets, unnoticed for years, remain waiting to reveal even more about the intentions and inspirations behind this hidden world? Stay with us to know. Public reaction and media frenzy. Once the contents of the garage were revealed, the response was immediate and intense. Social media platforms buzzed with images, videos, and commentary as fans and curious observers tried to piece together the significance of what had been uncovered. Unlike typical celebrity revelations, the fascination here stemmed not from scandal or luxury, but from the insight into a life lived quietly yet with incredible depth. The public was captivated by the unexpected blend of adventure, artistry, and intimacy that each object seemed to convey. News outlets quickly picked up the story, emphasizing the contrast between the person's public persona and the private life suggested by the garage. Headlines highlighted everything from rare musical collections and meticulously restored vehicles to handwritten journals and personal keepsakes. Analysts and lifestyle reporters debated the meaning behind the organization of the space, the types of artifacts preserved, and the clues they provided about personality, priorities, and emotional connections. For some, the garage became a symbol of authenticity, a rare glimpse into a life that had not been curated for the public eye. Forums and fan communities erupted in discussion, with people examining every detail, sharing theories, and comparing notes. Photographs of personal mementos sparked intense curiosity about the stories behind them. Certain items, like old letters and rare collectibles, inspired speculation about travels, relationships, and hobbies previously unknown to the wider world. The depth of engagement was striking. These were not superficial conversations about wealth or fame, but thoughtful reflections on character, values, and private pursuits. Commentary extended beyond entertainment media. Lifestyle experts, psychologists, and cultural analysts explored what the garage revealed about human behavior and personal identity. Some argued that the careful organization and preservation of objects reflected a profound need for order and reflection. Others highlighted the balance between creativity, craftsmanship, and emotional expression, noting how the space illustrated the integration of passion, skill, and memory into everyday life. In many ways, the garage became a case study for understanding how the environment can mirror personality. Public fascination was amplified by the sheer relatability of the discovery. While the items were unique, the emotions they evoked, curiosity, nostalgia, admiration, resonated widely. People marveled at the meticulous care, the personal stories embedded in everyday objects, and the private rituals suggested by the arrangement of memorabilia. Audiences connected with the universal themes of memory, passion, and identity, which transcended the individual and reflected something recognizable in anyone's life. Media outlets also emphasized the narrative tension between private life and public perception. The garage revealed that a person's interests, values, and passions could exist largely outside the gaze of fame and yet be profoundly revealing. Critics debated what the revelation said about public assumptions, challenging the tendency to reduce public figures to headlines or appearances. The story sparked wider conversations about privacy, personal legacy, and the boundaries between personal and public identity. Amid the frenzy, the garage itself became a metaphorical focal point, a reminder that behind closed doors, lives are complex, layered, and full of unexpected richness. Each vehicle, notebook, or keepsake became more than an object. It was a clue, a piece of a larger puzzle that reflected not just hobbies, but choices, relationships, and philosophies. Public interest was sustained by the mystery of what remained unseen, inviting speculation about further discoveries and unshared stories. The intensity of the attention underscored a broader fascination with authenticity, human curiosity, and the stories embedded in private spaces. Observers were drawn not simply to the items themselves, but to the deeper narrative they suggested, a life lived with intention, reflection, and passion, quietly unfolding away from public scrutiny until now. Which part of Brandon Blackstock's garage surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below.